I got some bite rate all over my cock. Alright, here we go. Actually, I don't want bite rate all over my cock, actually.
That's disgusting.
Well, you say that, human metal, but then, like, a little bit of bite rate all over the cock is a very, very good thing. A lot of bite rate, like, as in, like, bitten off, that's a bad thing. I don't really want to live a life without a cock. I'm just saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, you're used to it. So am I.
So you're used to being a cock. Welcome down to the abyssal lair of the radiophonic sea creatures. Bitch slap dirty old Hideo Kojima and make him sleep in a puddle of piss because I, Tokyo Choo Choo, am going to be your host today. And with me as always is a man who, for pissing his pants isn't just a hobby, but a way of life. It's human metal. How are you today, hey Jim?
I actually feel like pissing my pants right now, like you said, because goddamn it's hot over here. It's like way too hot, way too humid, and I apologize for my lack of enthusiasm thereof, because I'm, holy shit, exhausted already, just from getting up and sitting, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, I always thought like Germany was like a really cold country. When I think of Germany, I always think of like ice and stuff, like snow, like,
No, you're thinking of a bit more east, like Siberia or something. Germany can get pretty hot in summer, not for a long time, but if it wants to, it can get pretty hot. And not the nice kind of hot. It's usually the humid kind of hot, which is pretty annoying. To be fair, America is worse so far. From what I've experienced, because when I got out of the plane there, I almost died.
Yeah,
because I walked into a wall of heat. Yeah,
in Japan it's the same. Trust me, it's a tropical country. Yeah, but actually it's now the rainy season, so it's really weird when it's pissing down with rain, right? It's pissing down with rain. It's like thunder, but it's hot as fucking hell out there. Like seriously, it's something that because I'm from England, like if it's cloudy or rainy, it's just cold. But over here, it doesn't matter whether it's pissing down with rain or not. Your shirt still sticks to you.
Are we like the oldest fuckers on the internet? The one time the young guy is not around, we start the show by talking about the fucking weather. It's the worst thing.
Anyway, yeah, so let's get off the weather. So today is going to be kind of a sort of a special show. So recently the Radiophonic Sea Creatures output has been inconsistent with its timing. So we basically had quite a lot of time off recently due to various different things. Myself being busy, Human Metal being busy, or Bragg living in a completely different country. So, but anyway, well, hopefully we're going to be getting back on schedule in the next couple of months. But we haven't really done a proper Shallows for a long time, so we've kind of all saved up some stuff, and now we're going to unleash it all in a super Shallows. So basically, this episode is just the Shallows, but we got some interesting things on the docket which we're going to talk about. So I'm going to get two minor PlayStation 4 games out the way, which I've been playing. So the first is The Witcher 3. So The Witcher 3 is a absolutely huge deal as of recent times, and I remember looking at the game and thinking, man, that looks so fucking good, but I do not have the time to play that. Like, I know I'll get it, and I won't be able to play it. So, but I couldn't resist because it just looks so fucking badass. The Witcher 3. It does. It looks amazing. So I slapped the money down, and I have my copy of the Witcher 3. And it's amazing.
The fridger. He puts things in fridges. That's the whole game.
The fridger, yeah.
It's an indie title.
Yeah, your quest, should you accept it, is to go to the supermarket, get some beef and refrigerate it. That sounds interesting.
That can be more harrowing than you expect, so... hey, I would play that game.
Maybe for the concept alone, yeah, the fridger.
Yes, it sounds so dumb. I mean, you gotta try it out.
He's the guy who has like a refrigerator strapped to his backpack like a Ghostbuster with some kind of that freezes people.
Yeah, exactly. Or it just traps monsters in there or something like that. Yeah. Or you can, I don't know. Hey man, that can be crafting. You can craft your food inside that refrigerator. Oh my god, we're taking this way too far. Already developing gameplay mechanics for that shit.
He could stomp around and have the quotes like from Arnold Schwarzenegger from Batman and Robin, you know.
Oh yeah.
Cool off.
Yeah. God damn it. We could make this work.
Yeah, but anyway, The Witcher 3 is awesome. So I haven't, but as I suspected, I just haven't had time to play it. So, you know, I think I killed the Griffin, so I did that, and I got into the second city, or the second area of the game. I don't really have much to say about it. I mean, it's awesome. It is awesome. But other games have taken my attention away from it, I have to say, which are a bit more immediate than The Witcher 3. But, like, finally, I'm really looking forward to getting back to it. It's one of those games that finally, when I have fucking time, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to devote time to The Witcher 3. But I just haven't been able to do it yet. But
so how does it, I assume you're playing it on PS4, right?
Yeah.
How does it look? Like, is it everything you hope for in terms of graphical prowess?
Yeah, it has its moments. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I know there's that whole thing about, you know, them backing off on the what's it called, the gameplay demo that they showed at E3 or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but, you know, I read what they were saying. They were saying, you know, that was on their best output. And then basically when they were developing it was like, shit, actually, we're not going to be able to do that. So they didn't announce that beforehand. But, you know, I think they came out and were saying, look, we're sorry we had to do this. We just couldn't do it. It was impossible. You know, fair enough. What can you say about that? I mean, I don't really get wrapped up in so much, you know, like what they do, and as long as it's a good game, I don't give a shit, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's when it's like Aliens, Colonial Marines, when it looks so badass, and then the product is so different and shit to boot, like that's when it causes a problem. But the Witcher 3 probably looked, you know, a little bit, you know, under the demo that they showed, but ultimately it's obvious, even to me, who's only played a little bit, that's a fucking great game. And, you know, is gonna last a hell of a long time and is gonna offer up like a really good experience. So I don't know, I wouldn't put them through the ringer for that. But yeah, it looks beautiful. It does. It's certainly the best open world RPG, like looking open world RPG that I've ever played. What more can you ask other than that? So the other small game, which I haven't played a lot of, but I have played, is Drive Club, the PS Plus edition. So I want to talk about this a little bit because very early on in the PlayStation 4's lifetime, like they teased like PS Plus, and one of the major things that they had on PS Plus, right, was Drive Club. Everybody knew that Drive Club is going to be free on PS Plus, this PlayStation exclusive game, and everybody was like, oh yeah, that's amazing. And now finally, Drive Club has arrived on PS Plus, and it's a fucking ruse. It's a fucking ruse because it's just basically, it's like a demo you can play with all the good shit locked off. It's like, hey, here's PS Plus version of Drive Club. Congratulations. Oh yeah, by the way, you've only got like 3 cars and the tracks of India only. And plus all the interesting modes in the game are all locked behind paywalls. So if you want those, you have to unlock the full game. And it's like, well, fuck you then. Why not just stick this in the demo section? Like, why bother putting it as a PS Plus exclusive? Like, yeah, here you go. Look, here's the Drive Club that you were promised. It's like, it's not a full game. It's one of those things that stinks of bad business practices and like, you know, like actually setting up your customer base for disappointment, because they said, you know, you're going to get a proper version of the game, and then it's not. It's just kind of like a semi-extended demo. So very disappointed in you, PlayStation, and frankly, the game ain't that good anyway. So it's all right, but
that's a shame.
What's next thing on your list, Yumamoto? I'm done with the minor stuff.
So I just wanted to talk a bit about Chrono Trigger because I'm playing that right now, and it's actually the first time I've played it.
You're talking about the original Chrono Trigger?
Yes, the original Chrono Trigger for the Super Nintendo.
God, that was a good
game. I watched someone else play parts of it, a few years ago, but I never got around to playing it myself for some reason. And when I told some of my American friends that I was playing it right now for the first time. They were like, "What? Why? What the fuck? How come you were from this from the NES, Super NES area time? Why didn't you play it then?" And I have to remind people that game was not released in Europe when it came out for the Super Nintendo, and the at least not in Germany. I don't think if that counts for whole of Europe, but I'm pretty sure it does. And of course, some people had import Super Nintendos or like Super Nintendos that were modded and could play import games. But I'm pretty sure Chrono Trigger didn't come out for the Super Nintendo over here. Also, not the PlayStation version either. So the first actual retail version of Chrono Trigger we got was the DS version, and that was pretty recently. So for some reason, the game just eluded me for quite a while, and I, never got myself to play it on an emulator or something. I picked up the sequel, which was kind of confusing, obviously, without knowing the first story, and I couldn't, pick up on all the hints and reference to the first game. And while my friend who played Chrono Trigger was like, "Holy shit, this and that! I didn't expect this to happen and to be in this game." I was like, "Okay, I don't know what that means." But anyway, now I'm playing it, and yeah, it's great fun. It's just as good as I heard it would be. It has this really great old-timey Super Nintendo RPG feel to it that has this, I don't know how to explain it. It's like small-scale epicness, I would describe it, because it's old graphics. It's maybe not up to the world scale of recent RPGs like The Witcher or something, but it just makes you feel like you're in this really big world and big universe. And the score by Yasunori Mitsuda is fantastic, and oh man, it's just a great feeling in terms of playing the game. It's got a very good and easy to learn battle system that has this combo mechanic where you can combine the attacks of different characters with each other, which makes it even more surprising that the combat system in Chrono Cross was so shit. I mean, the combat system in the game was horrible. It was boring, and it lagged, and it was just, relying way too much of you getting the right element attack at the right time. Yeah, that battle system was shit, but the one in Chrono Trigger still works, and they should have kept that. And I hope a game is, is using something like that in the future, maybe again, like, I don't know, maybe the remake of Final Fantasy VII. Think about it, Square, that would be cool. I mean, like, these combo attacks are really, really neat. So yeah, great game. I haven't finished it yet, but so far I'm loving it, and I recommend it to everybody who still wants to get into, play some old school games from back in the day, maybe because they, grew up in the PlayStation era or something and never experienced the old-timey consoles. Chrono Trigger is a definite must play if you like JRPGs or RPGs in general. It's cool stuff, and its reputation is deserved.
So I'm gonna change up a little bit. I'm gonna go for the first movie. So I went to the cinema to see Tomorrowland, the Disney movie.
Yeah.
So
with George Clooney.
Yeah, George Clooney's actually one of my favorite actors. Actually, George Clooney. I really like him because George Clooney tends to appear in very eclectic things and be very, very good in them. Like for example, Michael Clayton. He's fucking awesome in Michael Clayton. And like Solaris, he's awesome in that too. And Burn After Reading was absolutely hysterical in that film.
I don't know. I feel a big hairy butt coming this way.
So yeah, I'm going to talk about Tomorrowland. George Clooney was okay in the film, but like
there it is.
Film was muddled, to say the least. Muddled. Okay. I can't say too much about Tomorrowland because I think the only real enjoyment you can get from Tomorrowland is not really understanding what the fuck is going on at the beginning of the film. Like that's once Tomorrowland, like it's intriguing while you're watching the film, but it's one of those films after you've seen it, it's just like, actually that was shit. Like, looking back on it, that was actually a waste of time. But
did it hit you right after you got out of the movie theater, or was that like a Star Wars Episode 1 thing where after you've watched it, you're like, man, it was actually pretty good, and then one day later you're like, huh, was it though?
No, I think it's one of those ones where, like, after things have been revealed and, you know, the climax is coming, you know, you sort of feel like, well, this is a wasted opportunity. There's so much they could have done with this concept that they did almost nothing with it. And, like, you come out and you like, the thing is, the structure sort of is what is sort of pleasant about the film. You're not quite sure what's going to happen. So when things happen, it's, you know, it's like, oh, wow, this is kind of strange structure. But after you finish the film and you look back at the structure, it's like, that film's all over the place, man. Like, it had no pacing. Like, it's all messed up. So, like, surprises aside, which I'm not going to, again, I can't really talk about it because, you know, that would severely ruin the film for people, because that's the only good thing about it. Like, the fact that when you sit down, you have no idea what it's going to be about. Like, because they managed to get their marketing just right. And, like, with holding on the mystery of that film. But unfortunately, it's not a good film. It's almost like a collection of scenes that have been strung together, and they don't, like, you know, there's bad guys that appear, for example. And, like, that's the only time you see them, and they look like they're going to be, like, major bad guys, and then you never see them again. Like, there's little pieces that flit in and out, but nothing has any sustained kind of momentum to it. Like, I can't really explain. It's like it's one of the most disjointed films I've ever seen. Like, when the climax comes, it doesn't seem like it's connected to anything. And, you know, the MacGuffin, it has a climax that just makes literally no sense.
Okay.
Especially when in context to the rest of the movie. Like, it comes out of nowhere.
Do you think they're trying to set up a franchise, and that's why maybe a lot of the stuff is not answered yet? Like, I don't know. This was based on a ride in Disneyland or something, right?
Yeah, an area, yeah. Tomorrow.
So like Pirates of the Caribbean movies. So I don't know. Okay, the first one of that was pretty damn good. So
it's not strong enough to base a franchise off. It doesn't have concrete enough ideas, I think. I think this is like an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Like,
yeah.
Like,
wow.
Yeah, exactly. It really is. Like, after you've seen it, like, you never need to see it again. You know? Okay. It's like one of those type movies. The surprise is lost. So, and it's not, it doesn't have strong enough elements. I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't mean to dog on M. Night Shyamalan too much. He has some good films. And I'll tell you what, he has much better films than Tomorrowland.
Okay. Well, I was about to say, at least the first two of his movies I can watch at least several times, because the atmosphere is pretty awesome. So
I like The Village too, actually, I have to say.
Okay.
And I saw After Earth recently, and that wasn't as bad as people say. I mean, it wasn't good. But
I heard it was mainly boring.
I found it was okay. It was just a standard, like, kids adventure movie, like, you know.
Okay.
Don't know.
I haven't seen it, so.
Didn't have any fucking twists in it, at least. Like, where's he gonna find out whether the main monster is actually his mother or something? I mean, it didn't have. Like,
it's Earth. Yeah, we knew that from the trailer, though. What was Will Smith has like this ridiculous name in the movie. I always forget it, but it's awesome.
All right, so what's next on your list?
Cypher Rage.
Cypher Rage, yeah, that was it. That could so totally be a guy from Star Wars. Though.
Yeah, pretty much. Next on my list, Jurassic World. I just watched that last week, and I expected nothing from this movie when I went in, because I saw the trailers and thought, man, this looks so dumb. This looks worse than Jurassic Park 3. And I liked the first one a lot. Like, that's one of my favorite movies. Even though I was not allowed to see it at the movie theater back then, because my dad was like, that is way too violent, you're not gonna watch that. And I was like, oh man. But yeah, he stomped his foot on the ground, and that was that.
Oh, that's bullshit.
So my friends told me, they were like, man, this movie is hilarious. There's this guy on the toilet who gets eaten by a dinosaur. And I was like, oh man, I want to see that.
That's such a classic scene.
Yeah, it is. And well, I watched it on VHS later and it was still good. So yeah, one of my favorite movies. I still like when I watched it, Lost World, but, on revisiting it is not that strong. Jeff Goldblum is still funny, but nevertheless. And Jurassic Park 3 was just, I couldn't deal with it. And so when I saw the trailer for Jurassic World, I was like, yeah, no, this is gonna be another shit fest. And lo and behold, I was very surprised how entertained I was by this movie and how good it actually was. I would say it's the best one after the first Jurassic Park, definitely. It's not as good as the first one, but pretty close. Especially
really?
Because
shit.
Yeah, especially because it's pretty much the same movie.
Oh.
No, that's not even joking because they're putting so many references and, twists on the first movie in there. It's such a love letter to, and an homage to the first movie. It's a love letter to the fans of the first movie. There's so much stuff that they, pull out of there, revisit or, put a spin on that you're like, oh man, it's that scene and oh, they're doing that and that's a reference to that. It's amazing. It's like for geeks who love the first movie, this is a total treat. It's great stuff. And that movie is not boring at all. Just it starts a bit slow where like they set up all the characters and who you immediately know who the bad guy is and everything. But they have to introduce those characters. They have introduced how Chris Pratt, stereotypical badass who has a motorcycle. Man, he's such a stereotype. It's amazing. But yeah, they have to introduce all the basic story setup and everything. So that takes a few minutes and it feels a bit slow in the beginning. But after the shit hits the fan, the movie doesn't let up. And it concludes with one of the most epic scenes I've ever seen in a popcorn movie ever. It's really great. It's really satisfying. And it's a great movie. If you were still on the fence, and I think it's still in movie theaters, and if you liked the first one, you should definitely go and see that one. Many people did. I think at this point it has the most successful movie box office start ever. So there you go.
Oh yeah, me personally, I'm definitely going to see that. So in Japan we're on a delayed release schedule out here. Yeah. So everything comes later. So I don't think Jurassic Park is out at the cinema yet. I remember seeing a billboard for it last time I went to the cinema, which was to see Stuck in Love, I think. I'm definitely gonna go see that soon, maybe even next weekend, possibly. So I'm looking forward to that now. So I'm gonna come on to a major video game which I played, which has been actually sucking almost all of my video game time recently, which is Axiom Verge. So Axiom Verge is, well, let's not beat around the bush. It's Metroid. It is Metroid. It's the most slavish recreation of Metroid that isn't Metroid that was ever made. I'm serious. I'm not joking. Like some games play a Metroidvania and stuff and play a bit like Metroid, but that basically is Metroid. The only difference between that and Metroid is they've changed the main character and changed the enemy types, but it's Metroid. Like make no bones about that. It's like a 2D Metroid. So, and Shovel Knight was amazing. It totally captured the spirit of like the old Mega Man games and DuckTales, and basically translated it perfectly, I think, to with a different character, and different settings and different levels. It was absolutely perfect. It had pitch perfect controls, perfect music. Like it was just totally badass. Axiom Verge is the same thing. Like it's one of those really rare type of like 2D games that takes the influences and then like completely recaptures the magic of it. Like what made those original games good, with providing its own twist. So if you're a Metroid fan and you are hankering for a brand new 2D Metroid game, fucking hell, you just can't do better than Axiom Verge. A couple things need special pointing out for Axiom Verge. The music is some of the best music I've heard in video games of recent memory. Like the moment you get to the boss fights, man, and the boss music kicks in. Oh fucking hell! I wanna send the creator of that soundtrack some money. Damn it, it's fucking awesome. Also, small.
Maybe you can.
Yeah, probably. Maybe small little musical cues, like do you know the beeping of the health bar? You know, when you get down to like minimal health and the beep beep beep. There's nothing more annoying than that in video games. I mean,
Indeed.
Anybody who's played that NES Turtle game will sympathize.
Oh God, shut up! That's horrible.
But they do this wonderful thing, like a small detail in Axiom Verge. If you get down to minimal health, like that beep, 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 beep starts. But it's in direct sync with the soundtrack in the background and has like this subwoofer behind it. It's amazing. It's an amazing little touch. Like, it like adds some urgency to the soundtrack somehow. It's amazing. Like little touches like that, like actually make the game like more than the sum of its parts, more than a Metroid ripoff. As do some of the power-ups, like the power-up that you can see glitches in the world of Axiom Verge, and you fire this like I don't know what the fuck they call it, I don't know what it is, but you fire this kind of gun at it, and it changes the glitch into something else. Like you can, like you'll see like a small glitch in the background, you can fire and it'll turn it into a platform. Or like really powerful enemies, if you hit them with the glitch gun, they'll basically glitch into something else, like a weaker version of that enemy or something like that. Like things like that, and being able to power-ups that you don't have in Metroid, like one where you can actually walk through solid walls and stuff, and you have this drill thing that can drill through blocks. So they've really been creative with their, the power-ups, and stuff like that. And the boss fights, as I say, not just the music, but the boss fights are fantastic. Those old school boss fights where you see a boss, you learn its pattern, then you kick his ass. It's just awesome. It's just really, really good times. If you love Metroid, I'm seriously telling you, don't bemoan the lack of another 2D Metroid game. Go out and get yourself Axiom Verge, because it's fucking excellent. And it's amazing.
So I watched the trailer, and I was interested, but it looked a bit drab to me, especially in terms of color palette. Are there like areas that look much different from, the gray, brown stuff you see in most of the trailer? Yeah,
there's snow areas. It's basically like Metroid. There are different worlds, which are kind of a bit more distinct. Like there's a snow world, there's a jungle world, like that type thing. But it is a bit more drab than Metroid. I'm not going to lie to you. So so the one problem with the game is it's more slavish to the original Metroid title. In that it doesn't give you, you have to completely rely on your own wits. It doesn't give you any direction whatsoever, basically. So, even in for example, Metroid Zero Mission, the remake of the original Metroid, you had some navigation in that where it would basically put a spot and say there's something interesting in this area, and it was up to you to make it there any way you could. But Axiom Verge doesn't even do that. You must remember that, in this world at some point you saw a ledge that you couldn't get up to. You must remember that. Like in Axiom.
Okay.
So it's real old school, like Super Metroid. There is no navigation. I
don't mind that. I actually like that. So
yeah. I thought at the beginning it would be bothering, but the more I played Axiom Verge, the more you get into it, the more the more actually it's like, oh shit, yeah, you're actually peering really carefully at the map to look at areas that haven't quite been filled in yet. So, the world isn't quite as well defined as Metroid. As in exciting looking areas. It just isn't. But however, the gameplay is really tight. It's as tight as Metroid, and it's as fun as Metroid to play. How can I? And it has the same type of atmosphere as Metroid, where you're completely isolated, alone in an alien world. It really captures that well. Is it as good as the Metroid games? No, but it's comparable. But it's easily the best thing that's Metroid that isn't Metroid, if you can understand. It's the best thing like Metroid that I've ever played that isn't Metroid. So,
okay.
And probably it is maybe even stronger than a couple of the weaker Metroid titles. But as I say that, I'm struggling.
Weak Metroid titles? Yeah, there's no such thing.
I'm trying to actually think of a major weak Metroid title. I guess.
Well, for me that would be Other M, but
I like that.
I know
quite a lot, but Axiom Verge is potentially boss fights aside. Axiom Verge is potentially stronger than Other M, and it's definitely stronger than Prime 2 and 3 in my opinion. But
Prime 2 and 3 were a bit mixed.
Yeah, but you can't. I mean, with the direct competitors, obviously it's better than the original NES Metroid, but the other Metroids, they're very, very difficult to lay faults on. They're like flawless games. The other Metroid games, the other 2D ones, they're fucking amazing. And goddamn it, Nintendo, why the fuck is there not another 2D Metroid game? I mean, come on, you had like New Super Mario Bros. Wii, amazingly successful. Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze and shit, amazingly successful. Where is our 2D Metroid game? Come on.
Yeah. Oh, nobody in Japan cares about Metroid, besides you. So. I guess they don't.
That's not true. One of my students, Lychee, he's fucking crazy for Metroid. Like, seriously. I got him into it, which is hilarious, and he loves it.
You're the only two. Yeah, you had to get him into it.
Yeah, I did, and he fucking loves it. It's like his favorite franchise.
No, I'm sad to want a new Metroid game as well. I think I'm gonna pick up the Prime collection for Wii U Virtual Console, just to play a good Metroid game again.
Human Metal, it's $10. Go get yourself Axiom Verge. You'll love it. I promise you that.
Yeah, I will. I will do definitely. I will do that.
It's amazing.
After your recommendation, definitely on the next Steam sale, or even before that. We'll see. But just like I said in the trailer, it looked a bit monotone. But if you're saying there are enough different styled areas in there, that's cool. Yeah. Looking forward to that.
It's totally balls out amazing. So we're going to move on to the next thing on the list, and we got 2 more items left. So we won't go too long, hopefully. But the next one should be a fairly major one, and that, especially for Human Metal and I, that is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reboot, the Michael Bay fueled reboot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh boy! So I'm looking forward to this conversation, Human Metal, because we are both massive Turtle fans, and we haven't talked about this, so this is certainly interesting. So go for it. I'll let you dive in. Doesn't sound like you're too keen on it. So what are your feelings about that? By the way, we're going to throw out for the next 2 items. We're going to throw out some spoiler warnings because we're going to talk about these films a little bit deeper because we've both seen them basically. So if you haven't seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, skip ahead a few minutes, or probably Human Metal is going to tell you just flat out not to see it. But
well, it depends. You're making a good point to actually give me a good starting point. If you are a young person, a child maybe, you might want to see this movie, but then you're probably not listening to this podcast, so whatever. I think I went into this movie prepared to hate it, like tear it apart. And by the end of the movie, I was like, I guess it's okay for kids. It's dumb, but it's not Michael Bay's worst, which I consider to be the Transformers movies. Jesus
Christ, this is like the Mona Lisa compared to Transformers.
Exactly. And actually the action parts, the fighting in that movie, the fight choreography was pretty good. I did not expect that to happen. That looked pretty damn awesome, even with the fucking, when they fought against the cyber shredded thing that is like basically, or a Transformer shredder. So it has its moments. There's some neat stuff in there. There's like this great scene with the turtles who are standing in an elevator that takes them up to the final battle, and they're like doing this impromptu a cappella beatbox session, and that actually made me laugh. That was good stuff. That was like that came out of nowhere, and it was actually that took me back to the old turtle stuff. That was like, This is what I'm talking about. More of that, please. This is cool. This is what they should do. This is cool stuff. This is funny stuff. This is not overly dumb and juvenile stuff. This is good. Put more like that in there. Then the movie can be better. I don't know how you saw that scene.
That was literally the best part of the film.
Yeah, it was.
That scene in the elevator. My daughter watched that. So I've seen the movie twice, and I'll get into that when I talk about the film. But like I watched the first time by myself, and then the second time I watched with my daughter. And my daughter laughed so hard that she begged me to rewind and watch that movie, to watch that single part of the movie again, like the elevator scene. DJ Mikey.
That was great. That was great stuff, and that is like where you really feel that they're a tight group, that they're family, and a bunch of brothers, a bunch of friends, and all the scenes that highlighted that were okay. And the other stuff was okay too. It felt, this is a kids movie. This is Michael Bay's, more so than the Transformers movies, who just feel like weirdly adult in some parts, but incredibly stupid and dumb movies. This felt like a genuine, hey, Turtles franchise is for the kids. Let's do a movie for the kids with some farting jokes in there, and Mikey being a total idiot and stuff like that, and just being a goofball. And yeah, let's do that. It doesn't even compare to the first real live action Turtles movie back in the days in terms of atmosphere and everything, and being close to the source material. But it's still all right, I guess. Not maybe if you're an adult, maybe if you're, more a kid. As a fan of the franchise, I think there's too much stuff in there that ticks you off. But just as a standalone movie, Turtles movie, I guess it works. And also another scene I didn't highlight, the scene where they the showstopper scene where they go down the snowy hill. Yeah. With the trucks and everything, that was a really well choreographed action scene. I was really surprised. I did not expect something like that out of this movie. There was really good stuff, really thrilling, entertaining, and easy to follow. Really good, really good. Didn't expect that. My biggest gripes with that movie is, and that's probably the fans' fault. Because when they announced that William Fichtner, the guy who plays the evil scientist dude in the movie, was supposed to be the Shredder, the fans rioted, no, he's supposed to be Japanese. And thus they completely recut the movie and put some Japanese dude in there who's the Shredder. Oh. And you feel that. Every time that dude is on screen, he is not relevant to the plot at all. He's just in there because people wanted to let, the real Shredder, Orokusaki. And he doesn't belong in that movie because he was not. That movie was not designed with him in mind. The whole plot is focusing around William Fichtner as the bad guy because the different origin, and it's a different origin for the Turtles in this movie. They're like basically April's pets, and we're in this lab experimented on by the character played by William Fichtner, and if he is even pronounced like that. Maybe I'm saying his name wrong all the time, but whatever. And yeah, that's a solid character origin for the bad guy as well. And then he just, gets cast aside. He's just working for that Shredder dude. And that's not how it was supposed to be. And I think the movie would have been a bit better if they kept it in the original vision.
I agree with you. The parts with the shoehorned in Shredder are kind of painful to watch because, like you say, it's not supposed to be him, man. It's supposed to be, yeah. And the thing is, like they set up Fichtner's. I think his name is actually Fichtner, but I'm not sure. I don't know either, really.
I don't know.
But
CH is tricky depending on where you come from.
Yeah, I suppose so. But but basically the scene, they set up him quite well, where I love the scene where April O'Neil, who is a complete fucking dumbass, goes to his house and, he's telling her, about how, he's talking to her about Japanese history and how he grew up in Japan and stuff. And I was at the time, like, firstly, as a member of the audience, that's like alarm bells, like, oh my God, this guy's a Shredder, like, that type thing. But it set up that moment, set him up as the Shredder really well. Gave him motivation to be the Shredder, like that type of thing. And it's like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then you actually see the Shredder and it's like, dude, this guy, has no personality, like, whatsoever. Is not relevant to the plot whatsoever. Like, like you say, he's like shoehorned in there as just some, like, crazy extra. Like, so, I don't know, you shouldn't sideline the Shredder like that. So I agree with you. They should have had, William Fichtner or Fichtner, as the Shredder. They should have maintained the pace on that. Besides, you could always repair the damage in the sequel. Say, like, this Shredder, right, gets killed. At the end of the film, Fichtner gets killed, right? As the Shredder, they could bring in the real Shredder. Like, he's like,
which they did in the 2003 animated series. The first Shredder they had was basically a mixture between Shredder and Krang, and the fans didn't like that. So in later parts, they put Karai as Shredder's daughter in there, and then they basically retconned the story that there was in ancient times the real Shredder, and he becomes the menace for the next season and stuff like that. So You're right. You can do that. You can work on the shit off that. Comics have been doing that for years.
It makes sense. I mean, he in Japan, he must have, he said he was taken in by a kind sensei, right? Imagine he gets killed and then the real Shredder comes from Japan to take revenge on the Turtles. Like
exactly.
He could have set shit up like that,
But he should not have been in this movie.
No, not the Japanese Shredder. But anyway, he is in there, so we have to deal with that. I'm not sure if he got killed at the end. Maybe he did. I don't know.
It's not clear.
But I hear they've recast him for the sequel anyway, so he should be more of a major threat. But me personally, I watched the movie once. I think the thing is, I had a dual experience with the film. The first time I watched it, I was the Turtles mega fan. Like the guy who has all the history with the Turtles. So I think it wasn't terrible. Certainly, like you, it wasn't awful. I was surprised because I went in expecting a piece of shit, and actually it was a relatively entertaining movie, and I had some minorly good experiences with it. That there were certain moments that I enjoyed. I enjoyed the fact that Karai was in there, for example. One for the Turtle fans who know who Karai is and stuff like that. And I think they got a lot of the character beats right. A lot of the kind of the personal touches between the Turtles, and I kind of enjoyed it, but there were certain things that really annoyed me. April O'Neil being a complete fucking dimwit was one of the most, it being a complete even though she was obsessed with the world of personal journalism, all of her decisions were bad in that film. Even though, going to her bosses and trying to explain about, the fact that, these Ninja Turtles have been mutated or whatever, it was complete, hello, who with a brain in their head would not suspect that was going to get them into trouble? Stuff like that. It's they're basically playing April O'Neil as a complete fucking airhead. A beautiful ditzy airhead who somehow thinks she's more clever than she actually is. And also the whole connection with the Turtles being April's pets was just fucking retarded.
It kind of was.
The original story was really shaky and bad, but you didn't really care so much because it was just so much fun as a concept. But they just made it worse in the reboot.
The worst thing is how they actually became Ninja Turtles. Splinter picking up a fucking ninjitsu book in the sewers, reading it, and then being able to teach them fucking ninja skills. What? I mean, the first movie in the original, it was dumb in a kind of fantasy way, but it worked dumb. Because he was
funny.
Yeah, because he's this super intelligent rat that watches his master actually perform the the martial arts and imitates it. It's dumb because a rat that can't do that, but you feel okay, it actually knows how to do the movement. But just from reading the book, that's not even how it works in fantasy terms. It wasn't a magic book.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the best way to do the Turtles, I think they made a fundamental mistake with the original story of the Turtles. I mean, the first movie, the original Turtles movie, basically gave you one single scene, right, and glossed over it. It's just this rat, ninjitsu from his master and whatever. But it's 2 seconds, done. Okay, we're done with that. And then it's on to the fun, right? So while you're watching that scene, it's oh, come on, this is still stupid. But they actually make a big thing of it in the new reboot. They focus on it too much because the origins of 4 giant walking turtles is retarded in general. But they spend too much time focusing on it. It's don't draw to the ridiculousness of that.
They tried to develop a personal connection between the bad guy and the good guys to make it more interesting. In the first movie, they did that by making in the source material, making the Shredder the killer of Splinter's master.
Yeah.
And therefore connecting him to the Turtles because they're Splinter's son and everything. In this, they tried to make the Shredder, or William Fichtner, whatever, the killer of April's parents, I guess.
Yeah.
And also, and destroying whatever her life and almost killing the Turtles. But it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't really work.
Oh, also,
it's weird.
Also, the thing is, the Splinter has a connection with Fichtner, right? But he has no actual connection with the Shredder.
No. Exactly.
Because he's saying to the Ninja Turtles, right? Like, you know, the Shredder is like this remorseless killer, like whatever, like a superpower. How the fuck does he know that?
I don't know.
Has he had some secret dealings with Shredder?
Like, he's the all-knowing rat.
He's been out stealing cheese from Shredder's larder, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. And that guy holds a grudge over food, especially cheese.
My first experience was of the fan kind, which was like, well, this is not terrible, but it's not, you know, there's definitely some missed potential. But then I'm a huge Turtle fan, so by association, my daughter is also a bit of a Turtles fan because I've inflicted the films on that and like the anime and stuff on her. So we watched together, and my daughter had a fucking riot. She loved that film. And like somehow the second time seeing it, I saw it through like the eyes of a child, sort of, you know, on a more pure level with like my fanboyism like cut. And I enjoyed that film significantly more the second time I watched it. And I got more like the pure spirit of the film and quite enjoyed it actually. Enjoyed it enough to actually consider it like the second best thing, like with the Turtles, you know, the second best movie of the Turtles. The original is still the best. But I think this is the second best, discounting Turtles Forever, of course.
And to be fair, people were like, man, this movie is so stupid and it's so dumb and this is not how the Turtles were. And I'm like, have you watched the old cartoon recently? Like the first one?
80s,
That was pretty dumb, guys. That was really dumb. And we liked it because it was appealing to everything you want to see as a kid. Like, because there was lots of cool and funny stuff in there. And guess what? For kids these days, this movie has a lot of cool and funny stuff in there. That's not super intelligent, but neither was the old cartoon. So just accept that it's new Turtles for new generations and be done with it. And I think if you look at it from that perspective, it's okay. It works.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. You know, there's a lot of good stuff in there. I think they got fundamentally, obviously needs more depth, of course, but fundamentally they got the relationship between the brothers right. Like you say, some great choreographed action scenes. I think as it goes forward, the fact that, you know, the shoehorned in Shredder isn't too annoying, and I do like the robotic suit that he has, you know, with at the end where he's throwing all those knives about and stuff. Shit, that's cool.
I think it was a bit over-designed.
Maybe.
It's all right.
Also, I thought the character Will Arnett, who plays the Vern, like I thought he was a pretty fun character and pretty interesting. A complete fucking nincompoop, but interesting. I think there's scope in a good sequel to you know, to make things deeper and better. I think learn from the mistakes that they made in the first film and just translate it. I think there's, unlike the Transformers, which was already a mess after the first film, like I think there's scope to improve in the second film. I hear they're going to put Bebop and Rocksteady in the second film. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Don't make him talk in Razardo, please. No.
Also the Arrow.
Also the Arrow, yes, Casey Jones. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, please, someone, goddammit, you've had your Star Wars, you've set it up, but let's make the Empire Strikes Back of the Turtles movies, please. Like, let's keep fingers crossed. So I guess that's going to bring us on to the final one, which I've already given away now. It's going to be Mad Max Fury Road. So, which Human Metal and I have both seen. So, yeah, Human Metal, Mad Max.
Rex
Fury
still
Road.
hasn't, because he can't go to the movie theater by himself.
No. So, again, if you haven't seen Mad Max Fury Road, spoiler alert, but frankly speaking, I don't think there is much to spoil in Mad Max Fury Road, especially not plot-wise, because it doesn't really have a plot, does it? But that's not the point of the film, really.
Yeah. Well, the plot is pretty bare bones, but so were the plots of the previous Mad Max movies, kinda.
It's basically, the plot is like, this dude gets in the car, runs away from people, fights people, kills people. Mad Max Fury Road, done.
Yes. No, they're driving into a certain direction and then they're driving back. That's the plot of Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh yeah. So spoiler alert, people.
Yeah. No, but seriously, we make it sound like it's a subpar movie, while it's anything but. It's actually, I think, my most favorite action movie for a long while. It's difficult to find a point where to start because, like you said, it's a pretty basic story, but the way it's set up, the way it's structured, it just gels all different parts work so well together in this movie. It never lets up. Actually, there was times in this movie where I literally was happy to be able to breathe because there's so much shit going on. It's such a breakneck pace. And it's not like, a lot of the action movies you see today where this shaky cam all the time. You can't see what's going on, and that's the exhausting part. You can see everything. It's so well shot. It's so amazingly well choreographed. All you want to see of the action, you will see. But you will see all the action all the time. The whole movie. It's like, there's so much shit going on. You really have to take your time and breathe when you can, because there won't be many points where you can do that. And the characters are, while they're pretty, I want to say, shallow, the characters are pretty easy to understand. They're pretty simple, but they're good. They're well written. Especially Max, who, not especially him, but since Max in this movie barely talks, he communicates most of the movie in grunts. It's like,
that's awesome.
And his character still works in that regard. He's just a guy who gets thrown into the shit, who didn't, who didn't want to get into this. He doesn't want to participate. He doesn't want to help the good guys in the beginning. He just gets roped into this shit, without him actually, participating in the beginning. And he just wants to get out of there.
Literally roped into it.
Yeah, exactly. And, but, and like in the other movies, he just becomes a part of the good guys, intentions and their goal, and just gets strung along, and then, actually helps them. And it's just great. It's great stuff. You can see what all the characters want. You can understand them. You can relate to them. And I didn't expect that when I saw the trailer. That movie is incredibly feminist in certain aspects, like in what it's trying to say, with the characters and how they're set up. It features a lot of women in relevant roles, and the world it creates is so imaginative, just in terms of visuals, that I promise you haven't seen something like that in quite a while. And that's maybe why some people were turned off by it. Though it was a success, it was not as big a success as it deserved to be. Because that movie looks incredible and is something just as an action movie and a action movie world that you haven't seen in quite a while. Forgot the name of the guy who made these movies. I'm so sorry. George Miller. Yes, fantastic. I'm gonna give one of the best scenes away from this movie, so beware. Spoiler, super spoiler. I don't know if that was in the trailer actually, so maybe I'm not. There's this guy in the crew of convoy of the bad guys, who plays the guitar and does just that. Like, the first time you see the bad guys find out that Mad Max and the other guys have escaped, and they go after them, the score just revs up and you hear these snaring drums, and you see just a truck that is filled with drums, and it pans around and you see a guy just mashing on his guitar, and that becomes part of the movie score, of the soundtrack. And it does over and over again. It's part of the movie, but it's also part of the soundtrack, and it works so well and looks so awesome. It's just this weird dude in this red pajamas who's playing his guitar, and fire is coming out of it. And it's like one of the best moments and characters in this movie. It's just so amazing. It's something you have not seen before, and so dumb and so cool at the same time. Like, this is awesome. Give me more of that shit. This is crazy. Do it. Like, and there's so much more of that stuff in this movie. So I've been, I need to stop talking. I need to give Chuchu some room to talk about this movie. But I can talk about this movie for hours, I think, because I liked it so much. I watched it 3 times in the movie theater at this point. It's amazing. I love it. I wasn't even that big of a fan of the first 3 Mad Max movies. I liked them, but I was not like, oh my god, Mad Max is the best thing ever. I know it inspired so many, an entire visual style when it comes to post-apocalyptic movies, like these, rockers and these motorcycle gang stuff. I was not the biggest fan of those movies, but of this one, definitely. And I hope, apparently it's getting sequels, and I hope they will be just as solid as this one, because damn, that was a fun ride multiple times.
I would agree with you. I enjoyed the first two Mad Max films. I never loved them, but I enjoyed them. The third one, Beyond Thunderdome, was a bit shaky. I never quite enjoyed that. But
I like the second one the most. I think that's widely regarded as being the best.
Yeah, I think everybody likes the second one the best. Although I'm not sure. Maybe like the first one the best. Actually, one of the characters from the first movie is actually the bad guy in there. Yeah, in the new one. So the plot is bare bones. There's not much plot in there, but it's not really important. There's enough plot to carry it through. The characters aren't really well defined, but like Human Metal says, you understand their motivations, and I actually quite enjoy the fact that Mad Max is the main character, but probably has the least dialogue of any of the characters in the film. That's quite interesting, and you could
argue that he isn't the main character. That Charlize Theron character is, Furiosa is actually the main character of this movie. And Mad Max is just in there because he is, Mad Max, and he just stumbles into shit. But yeah, still, it's great that the way they set him up, that he basically forgot how to talk.
Yeah, it's interesting. But then again, that's his character too. I mean, he's been through so much shit. I mean, what's he gonna say? Frankly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
he's been alone for such a long time, and he's always being haunted by the ghosts of his past. So he just, he didn't need to speak, so he didn't, and he has to relearn it.
Yeah,
I guess.
I thought that was that's mine.
Yeah,
it's about the only time he actually gets angry.
Yeah. Tom Hardy did a great job with this character.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he did do a pretty good job, and I like the way that, like you say, he kind of communicates in little like things you can't hear, like something under his breath, like you can't quite hear. It's hilarious. But I guess the main pull of the film is the action sequences, and wow, that's some pretty impressive shit. I mean, like once you've seen. Again, a huge spoiler warning, so spoiler alert, people. Once you've seen those guys, kind of, stuck to poles, swinging between speeding vehicles, plucking people out of the windows of those vehicles, and that's not CG. There's actually some fucking crazy stuntman strapped to a pole, pulling someone out of a speeding car. It's like, you can't unsee that. It's amazing. And exactly like Human Metal was saying, there's so much of this kind of shaky cam, like, CG stuff. And then in this movie, you have these perfectly cut, dynamic action sequences, which run in sequence, and you understand completely. You understand that this guy has fallen down the side of this vehicle, has climbed back up on top of it, is running over these two cars, and is fighting these two guys on top of this thing, and has thrown one under the tires or whatever. You understand beat to beat exactly what is going on. Not only that, it's like, it's not superhuman style either. Like, the characters, when they're fighting, like every minor goon that steps up to Max or whatever, actually feels like a threat. Like, he's difficult to take on. It's not just like Max one punches him and the guy's down. It's like there's a proper battle sequence there. If like Max is surrounded by three guys, he's in deep shit in that film. Like, he can't fight that. He's got to find some other thing, like swinging to another car or something like that. Like, those action scenes are so vivid and well choreographed. Like, you can follow beat to beat. So, suddenly when there's someone in, you've seen this bad guy sneaking alongside of the bus, and then finally when he gets to the cabin, and he's on Charlize Theron or whatever, like, you understand exactly what's going on there. Like, and you feel like much more invested in those action sequences than, like those kind of shaky cam, like you can't quite see what's going on, who's fighting who, what's going on. Like, exactly what's going on in Mad Max Fury Road. And with a film with so much action, the fact that it doesn't tire, it doesn't get boring, and it always feels like kind of like edgy, it's quite an achievement. And like, yeah, there's so many great scenes, like the scene where they go into the dust storm and like cars are getting sucked up into whirlwinds and stuff. I mean, Jesus, that's so cool. And also, like Human Metal says, it feels like a film that's like out of time. It feels like one of those deep like cultish sci-fi films, like Dune or something from the 1980s. Like, it really feels like that. It's got that deep, like, sci-fi, I don't know, like the sci-fi vibe, the sci-fi love running through it. Like I haven't seen a film quite like that since like the 90s, frankly. Like that kind of cultish sci-fi element. And the bad guy's just awesome. He just looks awesome, and he's creepy and shit. And, you know, it has like, sometimes it has like David Lynch-esque type moments to it. Like, for example, there's the scene where, spoiler alert, one of the characters gets killed. A pregnant woman gets killed under the wheels of a car. And there's a scene where like there's another guy, and he's like cutting her open with a knife and stuff, and pulling out like dead children from her womb. And it's just like, ooh, that's like so fucked up and twisted. You don't get to see any of it though.
Yeah, but imagination fills out the void. But isn't it amazing that is the same guy who made one of the Babe movies and the Happy Feet movies?
Really? He did?
Yes, he did.
Fucking hell.
Yes. That's what he did after Mad Max.
Wow, Jesus Christ.
It was how he continued to get his paycheck. And now he went back to make his dream come true of another Mad Max movie, and that's what happens. It's amazing. I mean, the dude is so is incredible. Wait, how old is he at this point? 68 or even older? I don't know.
Jesus, and he managed to make a movie like Mad Max, The Fury Road. Fucking hell, yeah. That even makes the film more impressive. Like, an old man managed to make like this thunderous action movie. Jesus.
He was born 1945.
Wow, that's damn impressive.
Yeah,
so,
it is.
An old codger managed to make a thunderously exciting action film. Like Michael Bay can only fucking dream in like his wildest dreams. Like, yeah. So it was great. Unfortunately, me personally, I was so tired when I went to cinema. So I hadn't slept well, and I went to see it, and like I was like during the quiet sequence, kind of just before the final climactic battle, I was actually sort of nodding off. So, like, not because the movie was boring, just because I was so deadbeat tired. So I want to go see it again. One thing I will say to the Radiophonic Sea Creatures audience is, if you go see it, don't take your girlfriend with you. Fuck. Because like I went to see that film, and I took my girlfriend, and like I say, the scene came where the pregnant woman got run over, and she literally turned around to me and said, "Why did you bring me to watch this?"
It's not the same for all women, though. I've heard some pretty like Halloween recommendations from the female side of my Twitter feed, so to speak. So a lot of women find something that strongly appeals to them in this movie, and I can see why, because there's some pretty strong, not even subtext. It's like open bare bones. It's easy to see messages in there for the female audience.
Okay, let me go back on that a little bit. If your girlfriend confesses to you that her favorite movie of all time is the recent Disney live action reboot of Cinderella, don't take her to see Mad Max Fury Road. She won't thank you for it.
I guess that works.
All right, so there you go. That's a hell of a recommendation. So, but with that, hey, we've come to the end of this week's visit to the ocean floor. Please join us next time you feel like bunking on a trawler with a barney old coot from Glasgow who'll probably knife you as soon as you try to get some shut-eye. Until then, yes, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking when I came up with that. Until then, this is the Radiophonic Sea Creatures tuning out.